Okay, I need to make a bracket to mount the Speedo on the front of the bike. I could use the bracket that comes with this. It's one of these cheap universal custom Speedos that I'm going to be mounting, and that's the bracket that it comes with. And I could quite simply just mount that to one side on the bike, but I want to have it more central in the middle of the yokes, so I'm going to make up a bracket similar, but one that fits mounting the Speedo more centrally than I can at the moment by using that. So I've roughly made up a template. It's not a V-sign. I've roughly did a cardboard template and transferred that onto a piece of alley. I'm now going to cut that out and then start roughly cutting out the shape, and then seeing how we can make that fit up to the bike. So that's going to be the job for today. So yeah, let's crack on with that. I'm not going to bore you with filming me sawing and that, but we'll come back to it once I've got it roughly cut out. I'll show you how I'm going to cut the curves to shape it, etc. Give you some idea of how I'm going to approach it. Might not be how everybody would approach it, but how I'm going to approach it. Give you some idea, and then see if we can get the Speedo mounted up today. So let's have a go at that and see how we get on. So yep, down to the cutting. Okay, we've made a start on doing the bracket. I've got the two holes that will hold it to the top yoke drilled out. Didn't quite get them spot on, so we've got a little bit of wiggle room there, but that's going to go under there onto those two bolts that I've already put in for now. I now just need to, it's roughly marked out, I need to more accurately get that marked out and then start cutting it. What I'll probably do is form one side and then take a template to match up the other side to get it as even as I can. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do next. I'm just going to sketch out how I want that to look and start cutting. So yeah, crack on, get a little bit further. So okay, now moving on to the next stage of the Speedo bracket. I'm going to start cutting out the shape. First thing I'm going to do is drill a hole here. I've just measured, and it's going to be approximately 18mm diameter, so I'm using one of my step drills to go through there, and then I'll use the hacksaw to cut the shape out. Obviously then we'll round it up and neaten it off, but I'm going to drill that one first. Once we've got that one drilled, we can start looking at marking up the other holes that we need and starting cutting out the rest of the shape. So yeah, bear with me, let's get that one drilled. First off, we're going to start by drilling a pilot hole. I've already punched it, so let's get a pilot hole through. Try to catch my swore. Pay attention, there you go. So that's the pilot hole. We should be something like to be able to go through with this now. These step drills, especially when you're drilling larger holes, brilliant. Okay. Getting some of this off the bench. Okay, so there's the hole drilled. Okay, now I'm just going to cut down here to get the basic shape, and then we can start get these two holes drilled and say then we'll take these out. So let's do that, and I'll come back to you in a little while. To try and drill the 2 holes that the Speedo actually clamps the mount through as accurately as possible, I've taken the original bracket and clamped it securely to the piece of metal that I'm working on. Okay, this particular bracket here allows you to drill down through. So what I'm going to do is just start a pilot hole, if you like, into the 2 holes. That way the holes should be perfectly aligned up, correct distance apart. So get these started. That's one. That's the other. Now if I take that out the vise, so you can see I've got it all clamped up. These are little thumb clamps. There you go. And the traditional G clamp that I used. So there you are. That's the hole started that we're going to now drill all the way through, and see if the Speedo will actually mount up to them. So let's get these out of the way. Okay, back in the vise with this. And away we go. Okay, let's see if that's worked. See if we've got something that the Speedo can sit on. And there you have it. Okay, this needs finishing off so that the bulb, I need to just polish that up, polish it up, grind it back a little bit so it's the right position for the bulb holder. But there you can see, those fit. Now shaping the rest of it and getting the right dimensions on it, and then we can give it a polish up. I'm going to put a couple of bends into it and offer it up to the bike, see how it looks. So okay, for now we'll just carry on cutting this out and then come back to you in a minute. Okay, that's one of the sides roughly cut out, so that get them something like even before I start tidying them up. I'm just going to take a piece of card that I have put to one side specifically for this, and then I'm just going to draw a template on there so that I can invert that roughly, excuse me, ticklish cough. I can invert that and then use it to mark up the other side so that they're as even as possible. Okay, so I've roughly shaped the sides and I've clamped the original bracket to the bracket that I'm making, so I can start to shape this top end and the middle there more accurately. And then what I'll do, I shall shape one side into what looks something like. Once I've got that, I shall repeat what I did before, take a template of this side, transfer it to this side, and try and get them both to match so that, you know, they look even. So but for now I'm just going to shape this top end roughly, doing a little bit more cutting just to shape this bit, and then we'll start to tidy it all up and get it look at something like I want it to finish up with. Okay, well there you have it. That's the bracket cut out and it's been shaped and finished off to a degree. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to offer it up to the bike, just see how it mounts. I need to put a couple of little bends in it so that it comes up and then out again, so the Speedo sits in the right position. I'm just going to mount it on the bike as it is so that I can get an idea of where the bends need to be and how I need to mount it up. So, but that's the bracket for now. Let's go and have a look at it on the bike. Alright, I've just put the Speedo mount as we've made it so far onto the bike. There you go, as you can see. Now I need to put a bend in it there bring it up 90 degrees and then dropping this back down probably less than 90 degrees. So we need the Speedo to sit about here. That's what we're aiming for. So I need to put a bend across here to bring it up and then bend it forward again to sit at the right angle. So I'm going to put it in the vise and put a bend in it, and then see where we need to put the other bend. So let's go and do that. Okay, quickly bent up the bracket and put it back into the bike. There you go, you can see. So if I get the Speedo now, bring the Speedo in, that is just going to sit on there. Just going to angle it slightly back so that I'm looking down at it, it's facing up at me. Okay, so I'm going to take that off and give it a good polish, finish it off properly. But for now, that's looking quite neat. Okay, when you're doing modifications like this, even simple ones like I'm trying to do, nothing major, sometimes things conspire against you. So I've made the bracket, and as you saw, we had it all nice and mounted. Unfortunately, with the bracket mounted there, the Speedo cable needs to come up through the headlight, and that ain't going to happen. So despite my best wishes, I'm going to have to mount the Speedo off to one side so the Speedo cable comes up and it connects to it properly. So I'm going to have to modify this bracket to mount over here. So basically that's what we're going to be doing next. So back to the workbench, back to the drawing board. I think I can make use of the bracket I've made so far, but we're going to have a go at modifying it and see if we can make it mount and fit in something like a presentable manner. If not, it's back to the design board. One step forward, a couple back. Okay, the plan is to drill a central hole. I'm going to have to take some of this away to miss the bracket underneath the top yoke that holds part of the handlebar on. So I'll drill a hole there. I'm going to have to take this corner off there and see how that mounts up, see if we can successfully line up the Speedo cable and make it work. So yep, going to crack on with that. So you go make a cup of tea, be back to you in 5 minutes or so. Okay, I've had to do some radical shaving of the Speedo bracket to make it fit. All of a sudden different things were getting in the way. As you can see, the Speedo cable now comes up underneath. I'm just going to offer the clocks up to make sure that it fits, and then we'll take it back off and we'll tidy it up and give it a polish. But for now, let's just see if the clock fits with the Speedo cable attached. Okay, that's it all put together quite finger tight, but just to see how it all works. As you can see, yeah, the Speedo cable still a bit tight around the headlight, but I think we're going to get away with that. That's going to work. Proof will be in the pudding, in the working. See how it goes. If not, we'll have to bring it over a little bit further, but we'll see. Action. Okay, after much head scratching and modification of the original Speedo bracket, I came up with this as the Mark II version, if you like, which mounted the Speedo slightly offset from centre, which is not what I was wanting to do. I wanted it mounting central, but the issue we've got, and I'll illustrate in a minute, is the routing of the Speedo cable and the mounting of the headlight. They interfere with each other. So I needed to get the Speedo a lot closer to the top yoke, so the Speedo cable has an easier time getting past the headlight. So sleeping on it, literally keeping it simple, looking for a simpler solution, I came up with the idea of these. Just a couple of bent pieces of metal bar. Okay, but basically, and again I'm going to demonstrate in a minute how these mount up. They bolt into the mounts that I'd used for the original bracket under the top yoke there, and the Speedo mounts through the top. Pulls it in a lot closer to the top yoke, and hopefully, again I'm going to demonstrate, it will give it an easier time on the Speedo cable. It's not going to interfere with the steering, it's not going to interfere with the headlight. So I've got these sorted. I'm just going to show you on the bike how it all works out, and then when we've done that we'll come back and we'll finish these off. They're very crude at the moment, but we'll finish off shaping them to look something like. You're not really going to see them. I'm going to be painting them satin black anyway, so I'm not making a feature of them as such as I might have tried to do with the alloy bracket. But yeah, there you go. I've decided to have another go at the headlamp brackets as we've just shown you, but just to illustrate the problem we've got. Once the Speedo's mounted, the Speedo cable is running down the back of the headlight there. As you can see, even with the new bracket, there's some tension, but not as much as there were with the previous two brackets. The previous two brackets were pushing the Speedo too far forward, which was either causing the cable to kink too much around the back of the headlight and pushing on the headlight, which is not ideal, or literally they were pushing the headlight forward. So these brackets, yeah, nice and simple, just a couple of pieces of metal bent, but they give us the position that's the best compromise. So let's get them back off and tidy them up. So okay, I've tidied up the two little brackets that I made up, give them a few coats of satin black, left them to that to harden overnight. So now we're going to get that put on the bike and get the Speedo bolted up properly and see how it works. So, but yeah, there you have it. There's the brackets. Close up of brackets. There you are. There's a close up just to show, as I say, we went down the keep it simple route. Hopefully this is going to work. Okay, so first off, just them 6-bolt holding them into the yoke there. I'm just going to loosely tighten that. Need a little bit of play in that too. Not sure which way I'm going to run the choke cable yet. The clutch cable yet, sorry. So keep that out of the way at the moment. Just need to be able to move that to line the Speedo up onto the holes. Okay, right, let's get this centralised and then tightened up. Something there, I think. Sure it'll okay, that's it all tightened up, so let's have a quick close-up of the bracket, see what you think. All the, I think anyway, neat, unobtrusive, everything really is out of sight. Nothing fancy, but it all works. I think you'll agree it's got the Speedo mounted very neatly, looking quite good. So yeah, for now that's done. I'll get the headlight repositioned and we'll get back on with doing the tank. As you can see, I'm in the middle of doing the lacquer coats. So for now, I'll leave you with it.